just a quick heads up that the thing that you are about to watch is a segment from our full episode of The Boss Battle Show, which is our podcast about video gaming that you can find on any of your favorite podcasting services around the world. iTunes, Stitcher, Anchor, any of that stuff. Anyway, just so you know, maybe you want to go check out the full episode. On to the content. Gordy, let's break down gameplay.
Ooh.
So there,
meat and potatoes.
The meat and potatoes of Mortal Kombat 11 is the gameplay. Now, interestingly enough, there is a lot of, I don't want to say criticism, and not backlash, but people are like, hey, this maybe isn't great. And I think that it's good because NetherRealm's pretty good about listening to those types of things, and we're early enough that they'll take that and maybe make some adjustments. And they said that they're listening to fan feedback. But let's talk about it. We'll break it down into a few things here because there's a lot of new mechanics and things that are different. The first thing is the meter usage. So gone is the 3-bar system, where older games in Mortal Kombat 9, Mortal Kombat X, you had the 3-bar meter system that would build as you play. You would get the first hit in the match, and you would get the first hit meter bonus or fill up. So it was always, as the meta grew for MKX, it was like, who gets the first hit is really going to sway the thing in a match, because then they're going to have 2 bars of meter, and shit's going to get crazy. Now we have the meter that has been split into 2 in an L-shaped bracket with 4 bars total. One is for defensive, that's going horizontally, and one that's vertically, and one that's going horizontally is for offensive. The difference here is you do not build meter by playing. The meter is on a cooldown and recharge system, so it's constantly building no matter what you do. What do you think about that?
Well, 2 things to put to thought. One, NetherRealm isn't just pulling shit out of their ass.
No, because that'd be disgusting.
It would be disgusting based on the finish moves in the games.
Yes.
But I would say it's interesting. I wonder if they found it to be what their motivation was, if they were looking for better balance, if they're looking to shift the dynamic game changers to other elements within a match, such as something we'll talk about later, rather than this focus on building meter. I don't have a problem with it until I play it and get some thoughts on it.
I think a big part of it was they don't want you constantly worrying about how much bar you have. They want you to worry about what your next move is, how you're going to play, and always know that the meter is going to be there. You know, to help with your moves and stuff like that. I personally, I think it's cool. I think it's a great change. I think. It's an interesting change, not anything I would have expected, but I love the fact that I don't have to worry about meter management now. I can get in there and just play, know that my meter is always going to be there, and only have to worry about looking at my meter when I'm ready to fucking use Amplify, which is their new meter burn, or to escape something. So very, very, very cool on the meter usage. The one thing that has changed pretty fundamentally that I'm not excited about is the way that meter burning works. And I don't know if you know anything about this, so this might be news to you now.
Lay it on me.
So MKX and MK9, you would have your EX moves or your meter burn moves. Same with Injustice and Injustice 2, where you would do a special move and you'd press right trigger or R2 to do a special version of that special. So, Scorpion Spear, you do the spear, but you do the EX version. He would throw the 2 spears, and you would have like extra damage or longer stun time, shit like that. You understand the function. They've fundamentally changed that now. So it's not called meter burning, it's not called EX anymore. It's called amplifying the move. However, to amplify the move...
I have a dark feeling you're going to say what's in my head here. Lay it on me.
To amplify the move, every move has a different button combination. It's no longer based on the trigger. So, like, if you wanted to... And I don't know this move off the top of my head, but if you wanted to throw Scorpion Spear, you'd throw the spear. And in older games, you'd throw the spear and press right trigger to EX it. Now, if you want to amplify it, you throw the spear and have to do, like, up and 2 or something like that.
So we're talking like Kenshi's adjusting how far away his spirit attacks are.
But everybody's move has a different move that you have to do to amplify it. Whether it's... So Baraka, example, his chop chop. You do the chop chop, and if you want to amplify it, it's easy because you just keep pressing X. and it continues it. Boom, 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 amplifies. But some moves are like forward and Y, or down and Y, or back forward Y after you've done back forward Y to amplify it. That's something I'm not super keen on, because now I have to memorize all these double the moves for every character I want to learn, which I guess is fine, and I could get used to it. However, Ed Boon did say in an interview that the way they amplify moves is totally in flux. This is a maybe. So they could change it back to the right trigger if based on fan feedback. Okay. And I think the feedback that everyone has given them so far is, we don't like this.
Well, it's like, here's the thing, is that they've basically just doubled how many moves there are. And some of them are similar to each other, but they have different button presses. That's kind of confusing. I mean, down the road it won't be if you play every day, but...
Yeah, it's very interesting. So it also, the fundamental of it changes just the way certain moves are. So for example, this will blow your mind. Scorpion Spear.
Yes.
Ever since 1992, you've thrown the spear, you pull them back, and they're stunned, and you get a hit, or you get in a combo. Doesn't do that anymore. You throw the spear, and he just pulls you past and slices you with the sword. You don't get the fucking stun state anymore unless you amplify it. You have to EX the move. You have to meter burn the move to get the scorpion stun. So, yeah, it's interesting. So I think that there's a lot of work to be done there, and I think they'll change it. I don't think that it'll stick. But if it does, I'll get used to it. But it's the one thing that I've seen that I'm like, that doesn't jive with me. But I haven't tried it myself, so I can't really make the assumptions. The next big thing that they've changed are X-rays are gone. They are no longer tied to meter usage. They have been moved into supers. The supers are now called Fatal Blows. And they have much different functionality, as you know, than X-rays. Fatal Blows now function as the game's supers, but act completely different in the franchise because they work as you get to 30% life. Then you have access to your super, your Fatal Blow, and it's same as done by pressing both triggers, but you can only do it once you got to 30%, and you only can land it once per game.
Both rounds, only once.
Only once. So, really brings into competitive sense, like, how are you going to use your Fatal Blow? Are you going to use it to take the round, or are you going to save it to round 2 or round 3 if it gets there to take the whole match? It's a really interesting management of strategically using how you're going to do your Fatal Blows. If it whiffs, if you go to use it and it whiffs, it recharges after 5 seconds and you can try it again. But if you land it, it's gone. So
once you land it, it's out.
It's out. And so strategically use the Fatal Blow. But the cool thing about it is, from what I've seen, and these are just like X-rays, they're heavy hitters, like 30% damage. Like they're crazy. They can sway the match. But the cool thing about it is you can combo into them pretty easily for certain characters like Sub-Zero, Scorpion, shit like that. So in some stuff I've seen, it's leading to sometimes 40-45% damage. It's crazy. Damage is king in this game completely because of that and the next functionality, which are the crushing blows of the system. Now, crushing blows, we kind of had an idea of how they worked on MK Day, but all this information I attribute to Ketchup and Mustard, because they put out an excellent video. They had most time of anybody, and they put out an excellent video breaking down how the crushing blows work. And it's to them, and I completely agree with them, but this is the newest mechanic of the game that I think is going to shape the meta of how the game is played. Totally agree with that functionality, but I think it's so cool. So for those of you that maybe haven't seen it, I'm sure you all have, but think of them as in-round brutalities. Each character has certain moves that can shift into a cinematic X-ray style finish with huge damage. They'll also give new move properties or allow for follow-ups if certain requirements are met in the match. So, for example, if you do Scorpion's Amplified Spear, the one that I told you knocks them into the stun, if you do that normally, it goes into the stun, you can combo off it. But if you're at full screen and you do the Amplified Spear, it'll go into the Crushing Blow version, which then you can combo off of, and your damage is like doubled. It's crazy. Another example would be his standard uppercut, down 2.
Yes.
If it's done as a counter, you get the Crushing Blow version of it, where you can also follow up and do a new combo string. So we're talking your normal uppercut would be like 15% damage. But if you get the crushing blow version, you recover faster. You're able to combo into it. You can get them like 30, 40%. Fucking crazy.
So my thoughts on what I was talking about earlier with the meter being kind of a distraction. I think that this game meta here, and from the ketchup and mustard video, you know, they mentioned that some people might actually design an entire strategy around some of these. So what you're looking at is you're thinking during a match what conditions are being met in order to get these payoffs that are a little bit higher. So without the meter system, I think that you have more mental space to dedicate to this part of the meta.
You'll know, you're like, I know that this combo string can be crushing blowed and I can get 45% damage out of it. Where's my in to land this? Rather than like, okay, now I've got enough meter, now I can do it. It's like, it's really cool. The cool thing about it is they're kind of like the fatal blows, where you only have one crushing blow per match of that move. So like if you do Scorpions down 2 and get the crushing blow, it won't do it again the rest of the match. But each character has several. So you have plenty. It could be back and forth. Very cinematic and very just like, man, it just, because you know how much damage they do. You can, the competitive scene is going to just look crazy watching these fights.
Yes.
I'm very excited for it. So planning around it. Plus you can go into the controller settings because they'll happen just willy-nilly. Yes. You can go in and then turn on the release check for them. So then you have control of when a crushing blow happens. So for example, like the down 2, if it counters and you uppercut, you can just do it regular, or if you counter an uppercut but hold the button, then it goes into the crushing blow version. So you can have complete control of when you let those crushing blows go. The competitive side of that is making my fucking nuts go crazy.
Man, speaking of down 2, I don't know if this is from something we're talking about somewhere else, but like this game does you know, down 2 uppercuts. Yeah. Does this game not kind of have remind you of Mortal Kombat 2 a little bit?
Oh,
like just bigger characters, like more damage, less emphasis on super long string combos. And,
and we're going to talk about that here right now, going into what the other part of the game is. Now, the stamina meter that was in Mortal Kombat X is gone. So stamina meter, run, and just overall speed have been removed from this game. A lot of people are not feeling that. So it's much slower. The game has shifted over in favor of a more slower-paced, heavy-hitting, footsies/neutral game that's not unlike Street Fighter. There was a lot of rumors before the reveal that it was going to play more like Street Fighter, and some of the rumors didn't prove true, like getting rid of the dial strings. But I guess in a way they did prove true, because it is more Street Fighter-ish, and you're always looking in for that in with your footsies game, neutral game, and just getting in on a person and punishing and getting crazy, rather than running in and rush down and just go fast-paced juggle fucking nonsense that MKX was. This is much more slower. It's much more like MK9 and Injustice 2, according to a lot of players who had a lot of hands-on time, which is the biggest criticism to most people. So they've added in dashing and dash blocking, which are pleasing to some people, but then they're also not pleasing because they're not very fast. Walk speeds aren't super fast. The dashing isn't very fast. People want a little bit more speed there. However, I reserve judgment, as much as I'm sure you do, because until I've played, the game looks like it plays more our speed.
Yes.
More MK2 than MK3, so to speak. MK2 was very, like you're saying, very heavy, fucking get in there and punish and do all kinds of crazy shit. And in MK3, they switched over to, with the run system, just rushing down your opponent with these fast combos, juggles, all kinds of crazy shit. This seems like it's shifting back and is now just like golden deity cum dripping into my ears as I listen to the way this game plays, because that's my shit. I thought personally that MK9 played better than MKX. I thought it was a little bit more fun gameplay. I like MKX a lot. I'm just not good at it. I don't flourish in those types of environments. So when I hear people compare it to MK2, that fucking piques my little tits, because I'm fucking dope at MK2. And I feel like, just watching this game, I'm like, I feel like I can be good at this game. Just the mechanics, watching how things are. My mind is ticking. Watching the gameplay, it doesn't look too fast. Like I'm seeing stuff, I'm like, I can do that. So I'm really excited to get in there and see what kind of damage I can do.